Hey, this is Financial Literacy 101. I'm your host, Ross World. Hey, my money makes money. Today, I want to talk about the sacrifice, okay? The sacrifice. Miles Davis had a quote that I want to read over really quickly. He says, if you sacrifice your art because of some woman or some man or for some color or for some wealth, you can't be trusted. See, a lot of us during this holiday season, we sacrifice everything, okay? We sacrifice everything. We sacrifice our bills, our debt. We forego investing, we forego saving. And I have some statistics that I actually want to, I really, I actually want to tell you about, okay? And I don't know why this says right here that this is pretty weird. Some will. This is crazy. But anyway, I want to read you some statistics about how we forego spending, investing, and letting go of our debt, the sacrifice. Then I also want to get into some terms that are very ancestral, meaning our descendants and how they sacrifice for us to be in the position of power that we are in today. Now, this is according to the Gallup study. They says American adults projected to spend approximately $920 on gift per person, up from $885 per person last year. You can account some of that for inflation. With the total holiday spending exceeding 1 trillion nationwide. That's 1 trillion nationwide. According to the above study in 2018, the breakdown of gift buying was 33% expecting to spend at least 1,000 on gifts. Okay, that's one study. And I did another study very quickly. This going over a few statistics here. They said while the percentage of men and women that shop for Christmas is fairly equal, men tend to spend more for a holiday with an average spending of over $725 and women for $609. Now, that can also equate for the wealth gap between men and women. That can also equate for inflation, okay, why we spend differently. Because when you look at men versus women in spending, we may think that women spend more, okay, because they like to go shopping for clothes and stuff like that. But men, we buy a lot of gadgets, we buy cars, we buy big ticket items. Not too many women I know that are techies, right? Meaning they love little tech gadgets. Now, there's a lot of women in IT and they create computer software and programs and things of that nature. But you don't really hear women actually buying a lot of smart home devices and electronics. That's usually, their husband, their boyfriend, or their friend, etc. However, which way you go. So that's the sacrifice that we go through every year, that we will forego paying bills like a credit card bill, a car loan, a house mortgage, an apartment, a condo, etc. Even your small personal loans. We may even forego opening and starting our business because of buying gifts, whether it be from Black Friday, no, excuse me, from Thanksgiving, right? The day before those Thanksgiving holiday sales, when you go buy your new car, your used car, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and now we are literally sitting on the cusp of the week before Christmas. We understand that Sunday supposedly is the first day of the week, and we are sitting on the cusp of the week before Christmas where people are going to absolutely go crazy and spend their entire paychecks to make somebody happy. See, I don't really call it Christmas, okay? Because we know the information, we know the history, we know the religion behind Christmas, but is it truly Christmas or is it gift giving day? A lot of people will hear me say, oh, it's GGD, okay? GGD, gift giving day. That's what essentially is for me. Hey, good afternoon, Miss Curly Girl. That is essentially what it is to me. It's gift giving day. Because that's what we need to understand. That's what we're doing. We're foregoing, we're sacrificing our paycheck, our income, however you get it, to go out and buy people's gift. And some of you actually are happy, or you express in a very exuberant way that You are happy to buy all these people gifts. Oh, I got to buy my little niece a gift, my nephew a gift, my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother, my mother, my father. You go and you like, I'm a forego and I'm a sacrifice my well-being to go out and buy you a $20 to $150 gift. Okay. Most gifts, and this is just me speaking, no statistics, no research. This is me speaking. You're going out and you're buying people anywhere from a $20 to $150 gift. You know why? Because some of you are going to say, well, I don't know what to get this person. I'm going to get them a gift card. Okay. And then $20 is like, that's not really a good gift card. What you going to do with that? You're going to buy a Coke and a smile. You're going to buy an ice cream cone and a t-shirt. I'm going to give you a $50 gift card that you can spend anywhere or at your favorite store. This is what you guys are going to do. So my testimony is that I am also guilty of that as well. But we need to understand, just because Jake is doing it, just because Keith is doing it, doesn't mean that Daryl needs to do it. You get what I'm trying to say? You need to be head of your own success. You need to be head of your own future. You need to be an entrepreneur in your own personal business. Meaning that just because you may not want to go start a business, don't mean that you should not be building wealth to start one. Right? Because and this is why I say this. This is why I say that I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere. The reason why I say this is because just last year, I never thought about starting my business. Now, I take that back. The back of my mind, it was always there. Like, you know what? I should just work for myself. That's what I should do. I need to put in the hard work. I need to become a workaholic. I need to read books. I need to be educated, etc. Have all this information, and I'm doing nothing with it. I'm doing nothing with it. So I told myself, you know what? You need to start, and you need to start right now. And so by building a little nest egg, I can go into that nest egg if need be, right? Because I would love to use somebody else's money and create my own income. Now, granted, I took, what's the guy's name? His Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey. I've used Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. He doesn't believe in any debt. But after reading a couple of books, and as well as following the path of the rich dad, you can actually use debt as a vehicle for income and never come out of pocket. Okay. So that's what I want you to think about. Now, I also want you to think about this other part of the sacrifice. The other part of the sacrifice. There are a lot of prominent people, a lot of prominent African Americans that are going back to countries like Kenya, South Africa, Senegal, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, and a lot more of the African countries. That is what these people are doing. They're going back, reaching out through the diaspora, right, with a connection of Pan-Africanism in order to do business. Now, I thought about this. I am so quick to tell people to go over to China and get things cheaply made. And I just, I had to slap myself. And I apologize, Ross World. I apologize, Financial Literacy, because what I should have been telling you is buy your ticket to Africa. Do your research. See what African country is producing whatever you need them to produce on a large scale. You get what I'm trying to say? You may get a better deal, but here's the issue with that. We have been brainwashed. We have been constantly been told and lied to that our African brothers and sisters are crooks, that they're scammers. Now, granted, they are. Some of them are, okay? Some of them are, but so are Americans. So are Europeans, like the Russians, right? Just to name a group that's very political and very volatile, who are using everybody for their financial gain through American democracy, the Russians. But don't think that the Asians don't scam. They do. Don't think that Americans don't scam. They do. I have plenty of people try to scam me when I was looking for a career, when I was looking for a job. They try to scam me. And I actually did a video on a scam. And quite frankly, that particular scam were done by Asians. I don't know where they were located at. But here's a quick scam in a nutshell. I like giving a story to put some information behind the story I'm saying. I was on ZipRecruiter and I had my resume with all my certifications, etc. I had all that on there. I was reached out through email. Then that email asked me if I had Skype or if I had Google Hangouts. So I said, well, I have both. They said, well, let's do it on Google Hangouts. So through Google Hangouts, they started a series of questions like, are you okay with doing an interview? I was like, yeah, I'm okay doing an interview. So the interview kept asking me succeeding questions about, are you good with this? Are you good with that? Are you good with this? Very, very different than anything I ever went through in an interview of any sort. First and foremost, I didn't like that the partial interview was through a text. That should have been the first red flag. That they didn't even, I couldn't even talk to them on the phone. Okay, I couldn't even talk to them on the phone. Then another red flag was they were trying to really lure me in and get me excited about the money. They was like, well, how does $46 an hour sound? How does $50 an hour sound? Oh, that sounds great. What is the job? See, and this is another thing. They was trying to use smoke and mirrors and confuse me about the job. I mean, about the money, and never told me the job. I'm like, well, what job would I be doing? I kept asking, kept asking, kept asking. Then the person behind the chat listed like 6 jobs. He's like, oh, a consultant, or this, or that, or this. I thought, whoa. I applied for a particular job. What job are you referring to? Rather than, you should have the listing number. You should know what job that I actually applied for. But they didn't. So I said, you know what? I'm going to continue with this because I knew it was a scam. Now, why did I continue with it? And I knew it was a scam to give you guys the information. I'll be your test dummy. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I got a brain and I know how to use it. I will be your test dummy. So to make a very, very long story short, right? Because there was a lot more questions they asked. They went down the list, but they was really trying to entice me with the amount of money they would be paying me. So the big takeaway at the end was they said, hey, we're going to send you a cashier's check. And I'm like, wow, cashier's check. Cashier's checks are usually guaranteed legitimate money. Not anymore. Have you noticed that America, we're really going away from written checks and personal checks? There's very, very few places that do it now because through the 80s and 90s, people have been very fraudulent, writing bad checks, getting away with murder, okay? Getting away with murder, creating alternate and multiple identities, basically to be fraudulent with checks. All right. So they sent me this cashier's check. And so I called my bank. I said, hey, I just deposit. No. I said, I'm about to deposit a cashier's check that I'm not too sure if it's legitimate. Could you guys look it over? They said, well, sir, we really wouldn't know if the funds are there unless you actually deposit. But she said, we can put a note on your account, which will help in the protection if this is a fraudulent check. I was like, oh, well, fine, great, thank you. So they told me, hey, can you do this today? It was a big rush. It was a big, in a big hurry, and they were really pressuring me the whole entire time. You need to go buy this today. You need to do this today. This is what we need from you. We need you to go. And I was about to kick myself in the butt because I was asking very investigating questions like, well, if you're going to send me the money to me go buy the equipment, won't you just buy the equipment and send it to me? Oh, well, sir, that's not the way our business is structured. And I was like, okay, well, then they would ask, well, go out and buy this equipment and then give us this amount of money back and you can keep the remainder. And I was like, well, why won't you just like estimate a certain amount and just have me keep the remainder? They could say, well, that's not the structure of the business. We don't know how prices fluctuate in your area. They were very, very savvy. And the average sucker would have got done in. They would have got, hoodwinked. They would have got bamboozled behind it. But I said, okay. So I went out and I deposited that check. My bank already knew. And I came back and I said, hey, deposit the check. They said, hey, can you send us over 1,000 from that? And I was like, no. And I deleted them and I blocked them. And that was it. I didn't touch any of the money. And a couple of days later, it bounced. A cashier's check bounced. Never seen it. Never heard of it. But like I said, I saw those red flags early on, and I actually knew that this was a scam. So I called in. I said, "Hey, it bounced." They said, "Yes, sir. We saw the note. You're all good to go. You don't even have to pay for it. No problem." So we need to understand that the sacrifice when it comes to money, you have to build your own security. You have to build your own business within your home. Whether you want to start your own business or not, because money is not guaranteed. And when we're talking about reaching out to our African brothers, here's the thing: a lot of African countries have the same mass production as China. And we need to do the research to figure out what products or what services that we can reach back and do business with them. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on my channel, if you are black, white, or otherwise. We have to understand that business is business. If reaching out to your African brothers and sisters, or your European brothers and sisters, or your Asian brothers and sisters is profitable for you, then you should do it. But the narrative and the notion and the brainwashing and the repetitive lies, we either can come from social media or mass media. We need to get away from the fact that Africa is a dangerous country and that everybody there is a killer and a scammer. Because guess what? In America, and a lot of platforms, not all, and a lot of platforms, they demonize Black Americans. They demonize African Americans. They demonize people with this skin color or with these body features or who are descendants of slaves, okay? Because here's the thing. If you keep with the mindset that you are a descendant from slaves, which you are essentially, but not actually, right? Literally you are, but not actually you aren't. What am I talking about? You really are a descendant of a people with, within a continent that is known to be very powerful, very intelligent, with the whole entire country is the richest country in the world because of the resources. But you have countries like who? You have countries like China. You have countries like France. You have countries like, I'll just say countries within the European nation. Now, does America have a footprint in Africa? If they do, it's very, very, very small. Europe has a large footprint in Africa, and China footprint is even bigger. Because if you just do a quick Google search and say, what African countries owe China money, you will be astounded. Like even the most richest country in Africa, which is Nigeria, according to their GDP, owes China billions of dollars. And a lot of other countries are in bed with China for billions of dollars. Well, how do you help where you come from? How do you fatten your pockets? How do you start a legacy? And how do you begin generation wealth? You start a business, whether you're working for somebody or not. Because I told you, I'm going to start a business on the side. And if it takes off to the point where I can't give both my attention, I'm going to go with my business was profitable. Okay. I'm going to go with my business was profitable. But my mind, I apologize to you guys for telling you to go to China first, where I should have told you to go to Africa. But I know a lot of us won't receive that well, right? Because, some of us say we're not African American. We say that we're Black. How in the hell do you think that you're Black? Whether you're mixed or not. Where did those features, where did that melanin, where did those genes, where did that DNA and RNA come from? It didn't come from India. It didn't come from Alaska. It didn't come from Hawaii. Those your Polynesians, your Hawaiians, your Samoans, okay? Your genes didn't come from there. Regardless if you refer yourself as Black or African American, guess what? 99.9% of us, if you have certain features, a certain skin tone, a certain body composition, your roots, your DNA originate from Africa. See, the sacrifice during this year, I want you to sacrifice your own mindset and develop a new mindset. Because the only thing that you got in your mind right now is spending your money. That is the sacrifice. The only sacrifice you have is like, I need to buy these people money. Well, you know what I want you to do with your money? Go ahead and buy your kids what they need. See what I did? Buy your kids what they need, whether it be clothes, a new bed set, a new bed frame, and then buy them something, one thing, what they want. But most importantly, either start a 529 college plan for them, or start a investment portfolio. Stash has a kids department. You can go over to Stash. I have the link in the description that you can start investing for your kids. How about buy your kids some stocks? How about buy your kids some bonds? You know, that's the thing, right? We would rather give people monetary and materialistic things in order and people to, but what if someone opened up a box, right? I don't have a prop here to open up, but what if you open up a box and somebody say, this person bought you 5 shares of Apple? How would that other person take it? And you're saying, well, the people that I would buy gifts wouldn't know anything about investing. They wouldn't know anything about stocks and shares and over time, the appreciation and the dividends that they may get from it, right? The value of buying them stocks. Then guess what? That is when you step in and you teach them. That is when you step up and you inspire them. Because that's the thing. We're not going to move anywhere when it comes to wealth. We're not going to move anywhere when it comes to position. We're not going to move anywhere when it comes to power if we don't educate our own. And I don't care who you are. Okay? Yeah, I speak about Black people. I speak about African Americans. But as a nation, as a people, as human beings, we're not going to be better if we don't teach our own. All this information you have inside of you, if you're not talking to somebody on the side to empower them, to push them, to motivate, to inspire them, then what is your purpose in life? Oh, I just need to take care of my kids and make sure they go to college and be $45,000 in debt. I doubt it. I doubt it. But now, if you are African American, you know what we come from. Okay, then I'll hear other ethnics always say, why do African Americans always talk about slavery? Why do we always talk about slavery? Does anybody want to mention anything in the chat? Why do African Americans always talk about slavery like we were slaves? Why do we talk about that? I want you to think about that. I'm gonna read some of your notes here in the chat room. See, Miss Curly Girls, what's going on, Money King? That's actually a good name. Boy, you lucky you took Money King. No, I'm kidding. That's a good name. See, Miss Curly Girl says, told myself the same thing. I need to work for myself. What else we got? Money King says, I try to catch Raws for as much as I can. I'm trying to learn from the best. Well, thank you very much, Money King. That's a huge compliment. All right, like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe, guys, and share. And also, Money King says, I've been subscribed. I think it's something wrong with my notification. It's a notification bell, Money King, that you just hit, and then it will notify you when I come live or when I'm on or when I release a video. All right. So why do African Americans always talk about slavery? Now, my perception of why and my reasoning behind it, it may be different than yours. See, I understand that African slaves built this country. Right? They didn't build this building that I'm in. They probably didn't build the house that you're in. But when people say they built this country, mainly what they're talking about is that they built the country from wealth. When you had free labor, because once you bought a slave, right? Once you bought a slave, unless you paid for him or her outright, that slave was yours. And the only thing you had to do was feed that slave. Slaves didn't get paid. Slaves did not get paid. Now, I speak to a fellow gentleman. He's a historian. He loves to read about history. But we come to grinds. We come to a difference when we get into history, slavery versus indentured servants. He told me that some Black people prior to slavery was in this country as indentured servants. I didn't read any history of that. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I don't like to speak on things that I don't know. That I don't know. But what I do know is slavery exists, and for 300 to 400 years, and granted, when people say 300 to 400 years of slavery, they don't mean that 3 to 400 years of slavery was in America. They mean that 300 to 400 years of slavery in the world from African people has happened, right? Because if you did the history of when the first slaves, I think it was about 1920 slaves in 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia, came over on a boat, those were considered the first slaves in America, okay? If I'm, 1619. And then I forgot when slavery officially ended. Whenever the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, supposedly that's when slavery ended for the second time, if you do your history right. And only reason why Lincoln did that was to pretty much plus up the number of troops, because it was a contract that a lot of people didn't know about for them to actually join the military so they can plus up the numbers to actually win a union, because the North wanted to beat out the South, okay? The Unions versus the Confederates, right? And as those African descendants of slaves understood that the only way that we will be totally free, because I have brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles down in the South, I'm up here in the North free, that I need to join the army regardless of all the slavery within the northern ranks, right? See, a lot of people back there like, well, there was no slavery up north. Yeah, there was still discrimination, and there was still racist acts. Black people were still getting killed by people doing the North, because not all the northern people were part of the Underground Railroad, okay? The point was slavery, when you hit past the Mason-Dixon line, didn't exist because it was outlawed, okay? It was outlawed prior to the South. So when you think about all the work that those African slaves did, whether it be plantations of cotton, sugarcane, and other commodities, then you need to understand that African slaves built America, and people are still rich hundreds of years from then. From 1619 till today, there are still families that profited and still profiting from slavery. From slavery. Because we always talk about the Black Wall Street, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that was the first American city that was bombed. It was a booming city of majority of African Americans that built businesses and were doing great. They were building things from scratch, and they had even white people coming over buying their commerce, their materials, their commodities, and all other such of stuff. Right? What happened is that they used one excuse, right? We know that Emmett Till started this movement that fueled the white people, that he looked at a white girl, he touched a white girl or something. And that started a whole race riot of them coming into town, burning businesses, killing people, and dropping bombs. See, every time that we as a community start to unite and join, and we move on a movement and we begin to gain wealth, what happens? What happens? Someone throws a bomb. Someone shoots a shot and disrupts the entire community, where then we go 10 to 15 years back and it feels like we have to start all over again. But see, we as a people, we have to understand that we can fight, and we're fighters, and we're survivors. Now, once you survive, because some of you are just surviving. Some of you are just surviving, and some of you are sitting on some money. You're sitting on $5,000. You're sitting on $10,000. So here's my question to you. What are you doing to build wealth with that $5,000? Is your money making you money? Do you need to go see my t-shirt? This is a great time to throw in my t-shirt now that I think about it. It shows, is your money making you money? That's what I want to know. Is your money making you money? Let's check it out. Let's just see. Because I know my money makes me money. I want to know if your money makes you money. I know my money makes me money, but is your money making you money? That is what I want to know. That is what I want to know. Because here's a brand, and this is what I stand for. I stand for financial literacy and financial information, giving people information to charge and inspire their lives to make more money. And here today, I'm here today to tell you, you need to start investing and make the sacrifice. And the first stop you should go is your motherland. Is your motherland, whatever that is. My motherland is Africa. So my next stop, when it comes to maybe branching out, I need to take a visit to Africa. I've been to every other country, guys. I've been to Australia. I've been to China. I've been to Korea. I've been to Japan. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to Thailand. I've been to London. I've been to Paris. I've been to all these countries. I've been to Canada. I've been to Mexico. Yeah, I've been to all these countries. But the one place I haven't been is Africa. And I'm looking at myself today and I'm like, dude, you're black. And I mean black, not like light-skinned black, not brown-skinned black, but black. Now, granted, that's not getting to the shades of gray here. If you're light-skinned black, you're still black. I'm just saying I'm black. And I love my skin tone. But I don't, okay, and I've been to the Bahamas. Let me tell you something. I went to the Bahamas, right? And I got to get out of here. I went to the Bahamas on a cruise. And when I stepped off the boat, I saw black people. And some of you are like, yeah, when you go to the Caribbean and Jamaica and places like that, you will see black people. Do you understand that I've been to all those other countries, but when I hit the Bahamas, I saw black people? Okay, let me make it more realistic for you. I've been to all those countries and I lived amongst their people and I respected their culture. Then I get off the boat and I step off and I see black people greeting me, black people talking to me, black people are trying to sell me stuff, black people feeding me their food. I don't care that they were raised in the Bahamas. I don't care if they were raised in the Caribbean. I don't care where they were raised from. They looked like me. They looked like me. And I would just ask them all sorts of questions like, how do you guys begin to speak English? Where are you guys originally from? And I want to say 9 out of 10 of them understood that their ancestors were from Africa, that their ancestors were brought over here from Africa to work in the Bahamas for sugarcane, cotton, etc. They actually knew their history. But a lot of us, and some people like to say ADOS or DOS, descendant of slaves, right? We like to say that we're black, and that I've heard people to actually say that, well, my family from Georgia, my family from New York, my ancestors are from here. Can you reach back a little bit more? Because when I talk to Anglo-Saxons, when I talk to Asians, when I talk to Hawaiians, they know where their people come from. When I talk to Mexicans and Puerto Ricans even know that 50% of their blood is African. See, Puerto Ricans are a mixture of African and Spanish. Dominicans are a mixture of African and Spanish. Why do you think Dominicans look black? They don't look black, they are black. We understand that when you mix two races together, if one race of those people are black, our features show more strongly. Now, if a black male sleeps with another race, 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, the child comes out more black. When a black female sleeps with another race, that race male, because male has stronger genes, but you can tell like she's not fully white. He's not fully, Asian. You can still see those African features, whether they be soft or strong in some area or not. The sacrifice is this, ladies and gentlemen, during this holiday season and during this tax season, because I'm going to do another video and we're going to talk about taxes. And I'm no tax guru. We're going to talk about how your tax money should be used or where I think it should be used. This is about the sacrifice during this time of season that you go out and you forego your mortgage, you forego paying your bills, you miss your car note. You're like, it'll be okay, I'll pay next month. You would rather put yourself in the doghouse. You would rather make yourself homeless than to tell some people, I don't have enough money to buy you a gift. And quite frankly, you don't have to buy nobody a gift. You don't even have to buy your kids a gift. But some of you like, no, that's my kid. It's that time of the season. I ain't gonna do my kids like that. Listen, the only thing I'm trying to advise you is if you're gonna go out and you're gonna use that money, I want you to make a budget for yourself, first and foremost. I want you to buy people things that they need. If you're really going to buy something, if you will. And then secondly, yeah, you might buy some fun things, but don't spend all your money on gifts. And here's another thing. If your kids are not set up for a trade school, if your kids are not set up for college, if your kids are not set up for some higher learning or some sort of higher learning school, then should you go out and buy them $1,000 computer? Should you do that? Should you buy them a quadcopter that costs hundreds of dollars? Should you buy them 10 video games? Should you buy them Jordans and LeBrons? I mean, I don't know how much LeBrons cost, but let's just say Jordans. Well, Jordans are notorious for being very expensive. So if you're thinking about doing that, you invest in their feet, where you can invest in their feet at many other stores for 60, 70, 80 bucks versus $300-$400. But you want to invest in their future, the sacrifice. You would rather invest in people's now than their future. I just want you guys to think about that during this holiday season, because we spend a lot of money. I broke it down. During this holiday season, we are expected to spend $1 trillion as a nation on stuff. And when I went through the list of the things that we bought, we don't buy those things that we actually need. We buy those things that we actually want. If I go down here, it says right here, and I wasn't going to read the statistics, but I'm going to read it really quickly before I get out of here. It says 61% of adults will purchase clothing and accessories. 61%. Some of you already know what you're going to buy people. You're going to buy them a shirt. You're going to buy them a pair of pants. You're going to buy them a scarf. You're going to buy them a hat. Do they already have those things? Oh, they don't have it in the colors that, oh, okay, you're going to buy it because of the colors? Okay. You want them to match. I got it. Whatever. 30% of consumers will spend money on electronics. 30% of consumers will spend money on electronics. And I'm guilty. But I can tell you I budget to buy those things for those people I wanted to buy those things for. Now, for my son, his birthday is December 21st. And then 4 days later, it's gift giving day. So I may just give him some money. You know, he's going to turn 20. I'm just going to give him some money. I mean, a 20-year-old, he just became part of a fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. I was going to be an alpha in school. Anyway, that's my history. And then it says 20% of buyers will simply give cash as a gift. I'm guilty. 20% of buyers. But here's the thing. My son is in school. Is your son or daughter in school? Are you paying for it? Did you save for it? Are you saving for it? The sacrifice. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. Here's a sacrifice. Break the mindset of spending and gain the mindset of investing. Break the mindset of spending and gain the mindset of investing. Invest in oneself and invest in your kids. Invest in your family. Okay, a family is a business that should be ran and nurtured. But if you're just buying everything that somebody wants, you will never become an investor. You will simply be a consumer. Reach out to your home country. Reach out to Africa. Do business with them. Stop thinking that everybody is a scammer. That is what the colonizers are telling us. Listen. They want us to go over to China. Do you know that Chinese people in Africa are still calling Africans dogs and monkeys? Did you know that? Did you know that black people are the most hated race on earth, but we are the ones who were enslaved mostly? Think about that. Why do you hate us? I'm going to tell you why. This is my opinion. Because we are powerful people. They're like, didn't we try to kill them off? Didn't we work them to death? Why are they still here? Why do they have millionaires? Why do black people have billionaires? Wait a minute. There are African Americans going back to Africa doing business and they're becoming rich in America. Some of them are moving back to Africa using American money to be rich and start businesses. The sacrifice. I need for you to break your brainwashing and understand that you were brainwashed. It took me time. It may take you time too. It took me time. It may take you time too. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we were brainwashed. If you bear this skin color and these features, you were brainwashed. There's a lot of black races out there. Yeah, there's a lot of black races out there. And you know what? I think that all of us at one point of our life, we were. We were, because when we were told and taught about Africans, the only thing we saw was they were these barbaric people that looked like us, and they wore leaves around their butt tails, and they were going around spearing stuff. And then coming of the new age where technology, that they were scamming Americans. And you like, I'm American. They try to scam me, those Nigerians, those Kenyans, those South Africans, those people from the Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. I want you to think about that. The brainwashing happened from the very beginning. And I'll give you this. I give you a little bit of advice. I always tell you to go out and read books, but I'm going to tell you, watch this documentary. It's by what's his name? Talib Rashid. I forgot the guy's name, but the name of the series is called Hidden Colors. And it's 5 series. Okay, it's 5 series called Hidden Colors. Hidden Colors 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The 5th one just came out this year, I believe, earlier this year. Hidden Colors. Okay, Hidden Colors. I'm gonna read some notes and I'm gonna get out of here. Let's see. They don't go broke this holiday season, people. Giving cards. Okay, it says Dr. Boris Watkins went to Ghana to do business. Yes, he did. I saw some of his videos. And then the person who did the documentaries, guys, I'm sorry, his name forgets me. He also has a channel as well. But nonetheless, I want you guys to sacrifice this year and think about your future, not right now, not buying gifts. Buy your gifts, but don't buy the most expensive stuff. Start a 529 college plan or a savings account or an investment account for your kids, okay? If your kids are grown, then invest in yourself. Think about your future wealth. The other sacrifice is break the brainwashing that the white Europeans, whether they live in Europe or America, understand that America is a country of immigrants, okay? Those Europeans came over from Europe. That's why every white person in America, their roots tied to Ireland and France and the UK, okay, and Scottish, etc. We're all immigrants in the Native Americans' country, okay? They came over, they stole the country, we worked the country from the ground up. So make the sacrifice, break the brainwashing, save for your kids, for their investments in their school and their higher education as well as yours. Reach out to your home country. Reach out to Africa. See if you can do business. See if you can make a profit. Yeah, I'm done. You guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys take heed to what I'm saying, understand what I'm saying, understand the power behind that. And you know what? You can tell a lot was on my mind, right? I'm going to leave you with this. I know I said a lot, but I'm going to leave you with this. I am so tired of African Americans, aka black people, always talking about going to fucking Europe, going to, oh, I want to go to Rome, I want to go to Greece. Do you know where you came from? Do you understand there's pyramids in Africa? Do you understand the country is rich? Do you understand there's people that look like you there that you can relate to? But you rather go to Europe. Well, a colonizer started this whole mess. See, we beat up Americans, American white people, yet they didn't do anything. Their ancestors did, unless it's social injustice, social economics, and police brutality. I got it. That's what's going on right now. But the white Europeans the UK, the British Empire. They're the ones who colonized Africa. They're the ones who started the transatlantic slave trade. But we would rather go visit that nation because of the Colosseums, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We would rather go over and do that stuff than to go see the country you actually came from, to actually reach out to your brother and your sister and connect to your roots. We'd rather go see a white country before we go see the country we come from. You know why? We've been brainwashed to do so. If you don't understand the brainwashing, then you don't understand anything I've said this whole entire live cast. You don't understand it. And I want you to understand it. You want to go to everywhere except Africa. And I feel it too, because I've been everywhere except Africa. I've been everywhere. I named the countries. I've been to all of Asia, all of Europe, but I've never been to Africa. But I'm going. I promise you that. When I go, I'm going to post as many pictures as I absolutely can, because I can't be a hypocrite of my own information. So I want you to sacrifice just as well as I am. I'm no bigger or better than you. If anybody knows me, transparency is the truth. When people are transparent about their lives, especially when they're trying to advise you on how to conduct yours. This is Financial Literacy 101. You guys have a great evening. I'm out.